As you can see, we have a BMW 8 Series, a BMW 3 Series and a Range Rover. This 3 Series is about to be sold. I managed to find a buyer on eBay. It's gone for next to nothing because it's got some damage on this front wing, and I've decided that I really don't want to be spending any more money on the car. It's got a recall as well where it needs to go back to BMW, and I just no longer have the time. We have two E91 Tourings at the rear. We have this 325i Touring. At the front we have a 330i Touring. So I'll just open it up and we can have a quick look at that there. And we can also have a look at that label there. And we'll do the same for this car. And so we'll just have a quick look around. It is quite bright, just so you can look at the exterior. And the front. Is this open? Might as well have a look beneath the bonnet. And we'll have a look here. This has got the black shadow line trim. If you look at the 330i Touring, this is the standard edition Touring. That doesn't have the shadow line, even though this is actually foldable. So if you click on that there, that does open and shut. Yet on this M Sport, that doesn't have the option to collapse the mirror. So we'll just start the car. So there's a coolant warning, and there's a light. So you can hear there's a lifter ticking noise there. That's because the car has just basically been sat on the driveway for the last year. It just needs a drive on the motorway. It's a wonderful looking thing. All of these wheels are new. There are no welds or anything. They are perfect. There are no scratches at all. They just need a decent clean. They will come up as new. All the tires are new. They don't match because this one at the front here ended up getting a nail and had to be replaced. But it's all new. All new tires, all new wheels. There's a little cat there. And this is what the rear looks like. You do have this. And then you've got a dog guard as well. There. I've just put a battery in there. Depending on the price of the sale. If there are too many tire kickers, I'll just put the old battery in there. If I get a decent price, then I'll put a brand new battery for whoever purchases the car. All you need really is just to top up with coolant and it'll get you wherever you need to. You can see it's just started idling properly. It was idling quite high. These are the Alcantara seats, the M Sport Alcantara seats. So this is the cover for the rear. This is what the seats look like, all unused really. I think one of these seals here on this door, in fact that's the thing to mention here, these are starting to let moisture in during the winter, so this could all do with being replaced. And what that moisture does is it affects the seat belts. If there's a lot of moisture in the car, you start getting some nonsense warnings, and what you need to do is just clear the condensation. But yeah, the car is running. It's got nearly a full tank of fuel there, so I won't need to top it up with too much fuel for the new owner. We'll stop the car. It's got a nice brand new M Sport gear stick, and in general it's a nice place to be indeed. With, as I say, it's got these M Sport seats. Now for this 330i Touring, it has the standard seats, just these leather seats that come on the standard edition. I do, however, have these M Sport seats, so I purchased a set of these M Sport Plus seats, and everything is available. I would like to sell this interior with the car, if I'm honest, because I don't really have a need for it. So it's got this lovely blue stitching. So this was a very, very rare option on the E91. These just need a bit of a clean really. But as I said, you've got this wonderful blue stitching and everything is available. All the door cards are all there. And obviously this is the rear, the back seat. And so, yeah, this is more or less ready to install. Those seats can go into this car. It comes with the original wheels. These have never been used. All brand new tires as well, so they will come as part of the deal. All four are available. Yeah. As I said, yeah, you've got a dog guard there. And you've got this there, and this is the fourth wheel. This little bit of trim here belongs on this door, so it is complete. It just needs somebody to fit that back. And engine cover, that's all there, nothing's missing. This is my pick really. If I had to pick between the two, I just love this engine. This was my main daily actually for about 2 years. I'll just let you see the errors. Again, it's got half a tank, so I don't need to fill it up too much. And you can hear the car. This is a stone cold classic. Okay, so that's not open. Let's see if we can. Could do with a bit of a hoover. I can clean all of this. This is an ultra reliable vehicle. It's taken me all over the United Kingdom. It's my go-to vehicle. That went missing. And we'll just have a listen to it at the rear. Definitely an all-time classic. It's a shame to be getting rid of it, if I'm honest. But I've purchased a Range Rover, and I do actually have an 8 Series. So if you're wondering why I'm selling this vehicle, you're a little bit nosy. And so this is really my main car. I've got this 850i, beautiful car. And I'm also looking to get rid of this manual E39, so I'll be putting that up for sale. And so I've run out of space on this driveway, and so that is the reason why I'm putting both of these cars up for sale. Both these cars have never failed me, not even once. They've started every time. The 330i Touring just needs a little bit of love. And so these are these two touring vehicles. This is the water pump that was on the vehicle. This has been removed, and as you can see here, it is completely seized. It does not turn, and so this is one of the main reasons why the car was not driving. I've replaced this water pump, and I've also replaced the thermostat. I believe really that if we were to connect everything back up again, that this probably will drive. Yeah, because as I say, yeah, it was the thermostat that was, yeah, it had seen better days, and this water pump, I think the engine was running really quite nicely, but there were holes in the intake boot. There's a few little things that we can do, like just to get a new disc valve, and I think the idle control valve just needs to come out. There's a little ball in it that you've just got to clear. I think those two things. And then the rest, I think, is just going to be preventative maintenance. So it's going to be reconditioning the Vanos. I've got a rebuild kit for the Vanos. And yeah, just loads of other parts. I've recorded a video a short while ago. I'll see if I can link to that video to show you all of the parts that are also available. But as I said, yeah, for me, I'd keep this car if it was a touring, and I am thinking of later years, essentially when I get a little bit older, and you're going to want something that A, I can maintain, B, is not as complicated as the Range Rover, because that is a nightmare really in terms of expense. Yeah, if you can find the right mechanics, of which there are many. But it's just a very labor intensive car. Now I believe we've done most of the updates and upgrades required on that car. It's just for me going to be maybe the airbags when they go, a new air compressor. Everything else should be good, including the turbos and the engine and the front end as in ancillaries. The starter motor does hesitate when it's extremely cold, so sometimes you've got to press it once, twice, but when it's warm like this, it starts every time. I think that maybe just in terms of preventative maintenance, we're just going to replace the starter motor, and I guess the alternator is one of the other main candidates on that car. We ended up not replacing the alternator because it turned out to be the ancillary belts that kept snapping the engine, but we've had the whole front end of the car off 4 times, which is why we've ended up with a bill of like 4.5 grand. I believe that, look, the mechanic that fixed that car ended up fixing something that everybody else had failed, including the specialists that rebuilt the engine. And again, it was just ancillaries. There was a specific pulley that needed to be replaced, and yeah, I think on a Range Rover, just replace every single pulley. I've got a pulley kit for this 530i, so every single pulley, but it's a lot of work. The electrics have gone. If you look at these windscreens, they've got holes, and that's letting a lot of moisture, and that moisture is what has caused most of the internal problems. So none of the electronics are working, and yeah, this car is going to need a donor car really to finish, and I think it really needs to go to a die-hard E39 collector. Now, if I was in my 20s, I think this would be a perfect car. But the Range Rover was also a cheap daily, yeah? I think I paid 2.5 grand for that. This was 900 quid, so the Range Rover was like 1.5 grand more than this. So I got to the stage really where I had 4 cheap daily drivers, as in a 325i Touring, a 330i Touring, this 530i Touring, and the Range Rover. Now, obviously, logical and sensible people would have said, keep the BMWs, and that is by far and away the most logical choice. But Range Rover owners are not logical people. They're led by their hearts rather than their head. And yeah, for me, it's a magnificent vehicle, and it does everything that most of my BMWs can't do, apart from obviously the 8 Series, which is another labor of love. And so for me, I think my main focus really is on finding projects that are like the 8 Series, that are like the Range Rover, where the car is in a reasonably good shape, it's been well maintained, and it's come on the market because, you know, it's requiring a little bit of love. And so for me, I think that if I'm going to restore another car, I'm going to set aside £10,000 or £15,000 and get a much nicer car, because when you restore one of those cars, you end up with something like the 8 Series. It's just a beautiful thing, yeah. And I know I can hold on to it for a very long time. I don't necessarily think I'll recoup all the money that I put in it, but I'll recoup it through the sheer pleasure of just driving and owning the vehicle. So rather than getting something like this that has been sat in a field for 7 years, that's going to require a colossal amount of money. And look, these are extremely nostalgic cars. A lot of my friends remember growing up, their dad driving one of these cars, their granddad driving one of these cars, and I think this car will always be a classic. There's no doubt about it. But for me, I think a Touring would make more sense. But, you know, I've got the Range Rover, and so for me, the Range Rover just ticks every box. I can also tow using the Range Rover, and so these cars are going to have to go. We're going to remain with the 8 Series, and then there's the 635 CSI that I'm contemplating selling as well, because there have been some far much nicer examples that have become available. There was one literally a week ago that was a manual as well, and that went for like 4 grand. Just unbelievable. and so yeah, I think it's a very, very difficult time to sell a classic car. But if you've got some money, it's a very, very good time to be to be buying a classic car. For me, the major lesson that I've learned is to avoid cars that have been sat in a field for 6, 7, 8 years, because everything's just completely rusty and rusted on this car, including all the electronics inside the vehicle. And even though it's a beautiful color, yeah, I know the purists would say that I'm wrong really to be getting rid of this. And as I said, every time I put it up for sale, I end up taking it off because I look at the car and just think, wow. But this is just going to require too much effort and too much money. And I think that there are way better cars to be restoring than this 530i. I think you're better off even getting like one at 200,000 miles, and as long as that has just been continuously running, than trying to restore something like this where everything is just completely rusty. It stinks inside. I don't think you'll ever get rid of the smell of damp. All of the seats need to be replaced. All of the radio needs to be replaced. The air conditioning needs to be replaced. Yeah, all of these everything. None of the windows work. It's just as I say, if this was maybe like your dream car and it was that was the light at the end of the tunnel, yeah, you might be, the person to put that level of effort. But for me, I found the 8 Series and the Range Rover far much more rewarding. This car has been completely updated. We started off with the engine. We've basically got a brand new engine, and so that has got a brand new piston, brand new crank seal, brand new head gasket, brand new main bearings. We've got the turbo that's been reconditioned, and so yeah, the engine is practically new. We've got a new power steering pump, a Hitachi OEM. We've got a new crankshaft pulley. We've got all new ancillaries, so every single belt, every single pulley, every single tensioner has been replaced at the front of the vehicle. We've got a new prop shaft bearing. We've got a new steering rack and new brake discs, new brake pads. All the suspension has been done. We've got new height sensors at the front. The car, when I start it doesn't kind of sag. It's just always like this. This is just a perfect vehicle. This is like 10 out of 10, apart from the corrosion on the subframe. So we'll be looking to get that dealt with in the new year. And so I cannot see this car failing me really for the next 5 to 7 years. I believe that this car will easily make it to 300,000 miles, and that is my objective. That's my goal. I really actually want to work on another one of these, so I'd love to get another Range Rover as a project, but obviously these are really expensive if you are paying for other people to repair them. And if you can learn to do some of the work yourself, I think you're going to save yourself an absolute fortune. And that the secret to owning one of these cars and not going bankrupt is learning to do some of the jobs yourself. As I've mentioned, this is not a complicated car to understand. If you understand basic engineering principles, it is pretty straightforward, and I'm surprised and shocked at the amount of alacrity that I meet, usually by mechanics that frankly have got better paying jobs. I think that the reality is in 2025 there is a shortage of car mechanics, and most car mechanics can easily make their wages, pay their wages doing far simpler jobs, so they don't have to take on this Land Rover where you'll estimate it 3 hours and it will end up taking 3 days. So the best way to avoid problems with this vehicle is to take it to a specialist. And by a specialist, it's somebody that's in these cars day in, day out, that is going to be the way that you are able to get this car repaired in a reasonable time frame and for a reasonable cost. That's not to say that the other mechanics can't and won't fix the car. They will, but it will take you much longer and it will cost you much more money. There are a lot of nuances to this car, which is why it needs a specialist. Sometimes when you take it to somebody that's not a specialist, I believe that, yeah, we could have saved £2,000 or £3,000 when we came to work on the front end of the car. But to be honest, the car actually had a very difficult problem that many mechanics had failed to spot. And so, yeah, I think we took the front end of the car off 4 times, where a specialist probably would have just done the job once. But look, I'm extremely happy with the fix. I'm extremely happy with the repair. I'm just over the moon with this vehicle. I literally can pull up a chair and just sit and admire the car. And so the moment that I realize that I've got a car that I love, it's when I can take a picture of it and I can stare at it for hours, as I do with this Range Rover.